So we're the lowest levy road district in McHenry County.
So,
That's
keeping
amazing
within
to
reason,
hear.
so that's why I'm like, okay, I'm fine with it.
And I still have a lot of roads to repair. I mean, I can.
Exactly. All right, thank you for that explanation.
$2 million.
Okay, I'm
Mr.
going to,
Rockley and.
Okay.
I'm going to, I have a couple sentences here. The road district has almost $600,000 in the money market that they haven't used for about a year. This is not the time to be increasing taxes. We need to leave the money in the taxpayers'
We're not
pockets.
increasing taxes.
Stop saying
You're
it. We
mis-
don't increase taxes.
You're mistaken completely.
And she always does that same thing. That's what's cost us $800,000. That's,
We are
that
not.
lies to the public. Lies to the public.
We're talking about the levy, and we're not increasing taxes.
I let you guys have your say.
We're not gonna let you lie to the public. We're
Well,
telling
obviously we
you.
have a difference of opinion.
I think the law is, we're restating the law. You're turning it
If we didn't have that first lawsuit that you filed against us, we'd have $800,000 more in the bank.
What's that got to do with this levy?
Because it's the same sort of thing. Your thinking is
Let's
backwards.
just get out. We're almost done. Let's get out of here. Let's go.
Let's
That's
go.
why.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee LaPorta?
Yeah.
Trustee Zerk?
Yes.
Trustee McMahon?
Yes.
Supervisor Moore?
No, motion carries 4-1.
Why do you do it to us? Just to antagonize us? Is that why you do it, Linda?
That's why.
Cheer. Cheer. Exactly.
Hopefully the public understands that.
Just
Discussion and potential action on purchase or lease of new copy machine for the assessor's office.
You're on, Bill.
We were going to try to wait until the next fiscal year, till April, but now, be careful. This will go. This is what the copy machine.
Whoa.
So
it's like a
Oh,
3D
God.
emulator.
That's like, if I take my glasses off, that's what
it makes
papers look like.
it'll make you dizzy.
Wow.
Seriously?
So I
That's
think
pretty
we're gonna
bad.
have to
Yeah.
get jammed probably 10 times a day while we have people in for protests. So I think unfortunately, I have to make a move now
I think so too.
to do something. Now, what we're going to try to do is, the machines are sophisticated enough now that we can get one that will be our printer, so we can run all the computers that will print out of this machine.
That's
print it out,
what I get at my
and so on.
job too. That's awesome.
What we'll do is, if you approve it, we will phase out our printers as we run out of toner in those, when we might use it up, those are $180 cartridges, and some of them, the big ones. So as those go dry, the computer will be switched over, so we'll print
Nice.
machine
So
itself.
we're replacing those other printers.
Right, so we won't have to buy.
Additional ink.
Right, every time you see inkjet cards, there'll be a few, like for the fax machine, and I have a second small printer in the office, in my office. But we'll phase out the big one, phase out the brother copier, and so on. So it might take some maneuvering of some funds in order to do this, but I think we're gonna have to do it as soon as possible.
Sounds like.
Now, the question is, which of the three companies are we going to go with? It's hard to tell because you can't really make a comparison because they don't do basically apples to apples. They each have their own style, which one will lease it to you for less a month, but then they charge you more for the copies. I tried to get them to bid on the same number of copies. So I think, in my opinion, it's between Nexus and Stans. The other one is from Tinley Park. It's a little far. They do say they have service in the area. Nexus does the village and school district 158. And of course, Stans is Stans. They've been dealt with Stans since, even before I was elected. Virginia had, and Robin both had Stans during the copy machine. And they have been real good to us as far as getting there to service it. Like we had some problems with all the people that came in and making the copies and so on. They were there. We tuned it up. We needed some parts. We went up and got the parts, came back, put them in.
I got a question.
Yeah,
Let's say you've got it down to 2 choices.
yeah.
Do you think that they would give you, each company would give you a machine for X amount of period of time to sample, and you'd have both machines next to each other, and you could decide then?
They're pretty much the same machines. I mean,
So you don't think they would go for giving us a machine for test purposes?
well, they're basically the same machines, they do the same things. The criteria that was presented for the machine, they each bid their machine that does the same thing. They all do exactly the same thing, and in my opinion, they're almost all made by the same company. It's just like their snow blowers, no matter what brand you make it, they're made by MTD in Ohio.
So are you preferring Stands? Is that what I said?
It stands or Nexus, I don't
Well,
know
Where's
what to say.
Nexus at? I mean, I'm
They're
thinking
out of
of
Elgin.
Elgin, okay, because I'm thinking of service. I mean,
Yeah.
Woodstock is very close, but Elgin isn't that far away either.
Right.
We're kind of right in the middle between
With
both of them.
with the school district and the village having Nexus, I mean, there's always, they said there's always a repairman around in our area because they have so many machines going. So,
Well, how do we narrow it down? How do we do it?
I do know with Stans, we get a special deal if we sign by the 15th.
What's that deal?
It's what he's got on here. And then we can take delivery of the machine. He said we could take delivery of the machine in April. However, as you see by the paper, I think we need it a little sooner than April. So.
I'd like to comment on something here. I'm not permitted to use the big copy machine in the main office, and the copy machine I have is a single feed. You can do 1 page at a time. So I appreciate the assessor letting me use the copy machine. I try to make some copies at home, but there's a huge volume of copying, especially like at the election. So I'm one of the abusers of these. So there's a lot of copying.
Yeah, the big
And
company.
as we said before, one of the reasons for doing this is because, like I said, at one of the previous
You wish
meetings,
I was.
they no longer make parts for the machine. Okay, so if something breaks, it's
What are you
it's
gonna
not
do with the
done,
old
it's-
Mine's currently-
Well, what we would do is we would keep it and then sell it or put it up at the annual meeting when there is equipment for sale. We would put it up there.
Okay. You know, Stan also says here that the equipment can be delivered within 48 hours. On here, so that's good.
Well, I look at it going, you've had continuous with this stands
Yeah.
and back and forth and whatever. If they've been that good and they're pretty comparable, then what the heck?
And they're more detailed in their proposal as well. In terms of what we're gonna get in. So,
Got the money in the budget to do it.
Like I said, we may have to switch something around.
No, you figure that out, whatever, but I don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah.
Then we'll go with a lease.
yes,
Okay.
yes, sounds good.
Do we need to make a motion to have
Yeah,
this totally
let's
official?
make it official. So,
Okay.
all right, so making a motion to approve Bill Otley's signature on a new lease for a copy machine. This, we agreed to the analysis that he did, to the bids that he received, comparable bids, and we agree on the choice that he's going with.
Which one?
Stands.
Stands. So the motion is again for Bill to go ahead and sign the lease agreement with Stands for the new copy machine.
And I'll second that.
Roll call, Harry?
Trustee LaPorta?
Yep.
Trustee Zerk?
Yes.
Trustee McNeil?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yep.
Supervisor Moore?
I'm not sure that the assessor has the authority to sign that contract, so I'm gonna vote no, because I need some time to review these This is the first time I've seen them.
Less than
So-
25,000?
Motion carries.
By law?
How much is the?
The motion did pass, right?
Yes.
And this will be done, right? Because you're in.
I'm doing it, but is it gonna be paid for?
Of course, we got that problem, you just add it to your lawsuit.
Just add it to another lawsuit.
That's right. Maybe, you know what'll happen in those lawsuits? Hopefully, the public will be smart enough not to elect her, and they will be abandoned.
Well, but the thing
By the
is,
next
he's
board.
coming
It's
to
the
the
next
board
board to
asking, and the board feels that, yeah, he did, I mean, he's like the most important
He doesn't need it.
office in that building. The assessor is. I mean, that office is just like,
I think all of the elected officials are equally important.
no, you know what, he's a little. Okay, I'm sorry, you all have special things,
That's
and
funny.
you all are very, yes, you're all important.
He's delusional.
His
Bill,
thing
you're full-time,
is,
right, Bill?
to me, the number
You're
one.
full-time?
He needs a new copier. I mean, what is the big deal? Why is it such a big, you know, why is it such a question?
Oh, God.
Why is it?
Lily, can you do one thing without a fight?
Well,
Your
he
turn.
got
She can buy
his
stamps.
house, and he comes before the
She
board.
was great with debit card.
And if there's, Bill,
Oh, what about the
if there's any
speakers?
concern
So
for me,
why do you stop with that?
Sound, you could use the sound.
Well, me too. I would have just seen it too, and I looked over it too, and okay, whatever.
So let's go ahead.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Establishment of agenda items for the next meeting.
Luke, we skipped
This
one.
one.
You skipped D.
We're full time.
Discussion of potential action regarding contract. Oh, company for the assessor.
Okay,
What is this?
you have a copy of the contract?
Yes.
Okay, at one point in time, the installation charges were going to be waived, but because the guy's coming back for a second time, I don't think it's gonna happen. So, because of the potential problems that could occur, I have not found anybody who services a Star system. Comcast is going to put in there, if you notice what my phone bill was, generally it's about $240 some or more a month. This one will be a fixed amount of $226.70. So it will save somewhere between $240 and $300 a year to the taxpayer.
Okay, good.
If I would, I want to proceed with this. It'll give us a better and faster internet service. And we'll have all the lines that we see that right now we're sitting with one line, one vacant line, because it's not rolled into our system because he won't come back and do that. Okay? Comcast will roll it in, so we will have 3-line rollover.
Would you need?
Yes, and we will have, still have our fax machine, so we would be able to call out on 4 lines, 3 lines will come in.
Okay.
This is the contract for that. And I would definitely like to proceed with this.
All right. We'll make a similar motion then, make sure you effectively communicate to your attorney on this one too. So the motion is for Bill, the approval for Bill to sign this new agreement with Comcast, which will result with a savings to the taxpayer.
I'll second that.
Gary, if you do a roll call, please.
Trustee Porter?
Yeah.
Trustee Zerk?
Yes.
Trustee McMahon?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yep.
Supervisor Moore?
No. Motion carries 4-1.
Oh, God forbid.
Okay, agenda items for the next meeting? None?
I was gonna say, you have the November minutes, post, yeah.
Also put on their forensic audit update.
Oh.
Please.
Oh, we haven't got down to the, have you got down to the reports yet, or did we skip
No,
those?
not yet, not yet.
Not yet.
All right, for another thing would be then possible line transfer in mind in order to.
Okay.
That's right.
come
Line
up.
item transfers for assessor.
Potential.
Potential.
I'll have to go back and rework.
buffs throughout the 12 months that are shown on the annual total. And on the monthly page, it's interesting to note that from Sun City, the riders from Sun City are 286, and the riders that are not in Sun City is 75. We also have in-district and out-of-district riders, the second and third column. In-district riders, we have 131. Out-of-district riders, which is Grafton Township, is 230. But just something to kind of keep in mind what's happening. I have a contract here, which I believe is in this section. I wanted the trustees to look over. So do you have it in your packets?
Yeah.
You want to look at it?
I've got it here, but does anybody need to look at the original copies?
She's changing energy.
Oh, all right.
Do you know how the village did
Yep.
the,
And
what
that's
do they
good.
call that? What's the name of
That's
it?
good. Direct energy. They did direct energy.
Yeah, so
That's what
for
this
them
is.
to do, that's what this is. And this is how we have to do it being a government.
So I would suggest we add that to the agenda for next meeting.
Sure, yeah, because we can't really vote on it tonight, but yeah.
But you got a chance to look it
Yeah.
over.
It is the same, our church went direct energy long before the village went
Did
this,
so they-
and we're saving about $45 a month on our.
Yeah, so for
Our
the
contract.
for the next meeting period.
Okay, and then in the supervisor section of your board packet, you'll see we got the revised rates as we do every year. For the town, it's 8.95% for unemployment, and for road, it's 4.15. They have separate FEIN numbers, and it's definitely good for the road to have a separate FEIN number for unemployment rates. More favorable. That's all I have. So, trustees report.
I got nothing.
Well,
I don't have anything. What,
I do, I
what do you
mean,
got?
I see Diane Everson wrote a letter in here about the senior bingo. And
Yeah.
they're paying the $25 to do the second bingo. But see, $25 doesn't really cover the cost of our senior bingo. It costs us right around $300 each time we do a senior bingo. If you consider the wages we pay the people to be there, if you consider the paperwork, the time, and everything that's involved, we spend about $300 for each senior bingo.
Could you show me your figures on that?
You had 4 employees there
No, I'm
last
not
night.
gonna give it to you, I just did a quick, I did a quick thing analysis with the payroll. I mean, Candy spends about 6 hours doing it. Yeah, from the time she leaves, by the time she gets everything loaded in the van and gets it over to the Legion, and she's there right after 9:30, gotta get the coffee going and things set up, and she doesn't leave until almost 3 o'clock. By the time she gets back to the office, it is after 3. And then you have Trudy is helping over there, and she could be there anywhere from an hour and a half to 2.5 hours. And when you figure out, Linda has somebody printing a lot of stuff. These people get about 6 pages of printed material. Well, that's not a 5-minute job. If you figure all these costs involved, it's pretty close to $300 for each senior thing.
Do we know what Candy's salary is, what she makes an hour? Betty, your times aren't correct for how much time they're spending on this.
Well, I know Candy gets there at 9:30 and she leaves at 3.
Have you been there the whole time?
Not the whole time, but I've been in there at different times. I used to be there all the time.
Yes, we'd like you back.
Pardon me?
We'd like you to do that again.
Who's changing stuff?
What happens to the office? Does it stay open here with no one here, or
Well, there's been times when they close the office for senior bingo.
Well, then who takes care of
It's
it?
been closed at least 3
We
times.
do.
Supposed to have an open office?
Right.
Township? Okay, this is time for board discussion. Well, this is important stuff, Linda. I'm not on the board, so you're out of order.
So-
I can speak, board.
But these
Go
are,
ahead.
I can speak. Betty? Candy has a sense of.
Discussion last month, what's the matter? You do whatever she wants.
Candy's in and out doing other things. Okay? Trudy comes on her lunch update.
Oh, yeah.
And some days voluntarily. So,
We voted to dispose of the second.
yes, we said,
What are we talking about?
and really, it should start
Why,
here
because
January.
the dictator's forcing it on us, is that why we're talking about it? Well, let's end the dictatorship, get rid of her.
Okay.
All right,
I think.
and,
What else, Betty?
I wanted the people to know that we were in court today, and nothing happened in 2 different court cases. But every time we're in court, it costs our township about $4,000 in legal fees. I mean, today we had 3 different lawyers there. I mean, with Otley's case, it was Bill's the lawyer and Nelson. And then with our case, it was Ansel and Glink and Nelson. And Nelson was late. Our lawyer had to sit around for an hour waiting. The judge called our docket and Nelson wasn't there. And here our lawyers getting paid.
Betty, he was in the other courtroom.
Well, he wasn't in the courtroom at that time. He was sitting out in the hall writing up
Exactly.
this thing for us.
The motion.
But, I mean,
Since he did a
if
good
you
job.
figure out, they leave from their office, they charge us from the time they leave until they get back. It's pretty close to $1,000 per lawyer. And this one was there a little longer, and we're spending a lot of money for doing, and we don't
The
get
only
anything
reason we're
accomplished.
spending a lot of money is because Linda brings this stuff to our door. Always brings it to our door.
But
$800,000 worth of lawyer bills.
everybody should know that this is going on.
And just a reason for, these cases being moved to the next month, is because her attorney is not prepared, and he requires more time, and this excuse and that excuse. Okay? And so her attorney, lack of preparation, is costing us so much more money.
I'm sure
So-
we're ready right after the election.
Here, because we were supposed to go to court last week, and because our lawyers couldn't make it, he had an extra week to prepare his motion.
All right, so I think the point's been made.
Okay.
Move on. Do you have anything else?
Nothing else.
Okay. The clerk?
Yes, the Open Meetings Act, I still have not received certification from the supervisor and 2 of the trustees.
Sorry.
So please,
I will do
give
that.
me your certificate that you've completed that training.
Online, right?
It's an online training, the certificate has to be on file at the clerk's office. Election things are in full gear. Filing for the consolidated election begins on Monday. I have the schedule up here. Also, if you are trying to reach the clerk, I gave something to the trustees. I get very little mail. My mail was opened this week, even though it said clerk, and it was opened by the supervisor's office. But I don't get a lot of mail. I've also been told that the staff cannot speak to me directly. So, and that packets were given out by the supervisor's office. So if you are an independent candidate or thinking of being an independent candidate, please check the candidate's guide, because even though it's hearsay, several of the packets that were given out are incomplete. So I don't want anything to be jeopardizing anyone's candidacy. So Monday morning at 8 o'clock is the beginning of filing.
So Linda, why are you not allowing her to use your copy machine or to speak to your staff?
She can use the copy machine, she hasn't wanted to, I've offered it, and she hasn't.
You got to correct.
I'm joking.
I'm not allowed in the office. You just told me Trudy worked for you. I couldn't speak to her directly. That all just happened this week, not to mention dozens and dozens and dozens of other times that I'm not allowed in there. Your staff has been told not to take messages for me, not to allow me to use the machines. But the meeting's long enough, and let's not do it he said, she said.
We don't really need to be fine.
It doesn't.
Well, so Linda, are you gonna change that? Are you gonna allow your staff to take messages with her? Are
I
you
just
gonna allow your staff to speak with her? Are you gonna allow her to use your machine? Yes, you are. You know exactly what she's referring
Linda,
to.
there's personality witnesses. I'm just trying to let the public know that if they need to reach the clerk for any kind of business, to please call me or use my email and I will respond. I'm just trying to be there in case you need information from the clerk.
And this is a federal,
Done, this done.
is this a federal offense that she opened up your mail from another governmental
Is this the
entity?
first time this has happened with her
No.
opening your mail?
I don't get it.
Brenda gives me my mail.
What of a lawsuit against
Brenda
her?
gives me my mail.
I received 3 pieces of mail in the last year.
Don't file a lawsuit, it only costs us $50,000, but it'll be paid for after my administration.
File a lawsuit.
Okay, highway commission, or no,
You won't
assessor.
file a lawsuit.
File a lawsuit.
Mr. Bill,
Go ahead, Joe.
please.
In the outside appraiser, I don't use that very often or have a need for it
Right.
as much as I used to in the past. But I would like that, use that money to join what's called CoStar. It will cost us about $300 a month. It's like MLS listings and sales of commercial, industrial, and apartment buildings. And that would be extremely helpful. So I would like to, I met with Pete, not Pete. He happens to live in our township. And he came to the office and he set up a meeting. We went through some stuff and then we had a computerized meeting where it was pretty neat. He put his screen on my computer.
Oh,
I was on the phone and he says, now we'll just watch the cursor, and he's going around clicking and showing me how it works.
yeah.
And it's really good. And he happened to click on one of the buildings that was in our township, and it was lacking information, so I gave him all the information that I knew about it. And as we were talking, he was typing it in so that it was now in the information box.
Nice.
Sweet.
So,
And do other townships have,
yes,
assessors have this?
Algonquin has it, Nunda has it. I don't know about McHenry, but it is extremely useful because it will give us all the sales of properties. You can classify and ask it certain questions, and it'll produce the evidence. He said, well, give me an example. And from 2009 to the present, it came up with 271 sales in Lake, McHenry, and Kane County. So, and those would be basically what we would call our competition areas where if somebody's going to invest or buy or get into this area, those would be the ones they would want to use. And with the tollway interchange coming, it would be a good idea because it's going to give us confirmation of values, and I would be able to present these at commercial, industrial hearings, because right now, the lawyers that represent these other companies in the protests use CoStar. And I don't know whether they are unloading all the evidence or just the evidence that's going to make them look good. And so I can come back with, hey, why didn't you include this one? Why didn't you include that one? Why didn't you include that one? Because I will have access to the same information they do. And I would like to join that right away because we're in the protest season, and I would like to be able to use that for it. So if it's possible, I will use the money out of that to operate it. If you okay that, then I'll call Pete and tomorrow, and we'll get it set up so that we can join like in January 1st or whenever.
That sounds like very productive tool. It's going to get very quick payback as well.
It's going to be very good payback because the commercial industrial ones are the ones that hit us the hardest as far as loss of revenue.
What's the cost of this?
I said $300 a month. I have $7,000 in there right now that I have not touched, and I probably would use less of it. In other words, it would cost me more for an appraisal than it will to have this thing for the whole year.
I assume there's a contract involved.
I don't know. Now, another question. question. And